everyone. Welcome to the College Applications Podcast. It's very nice to have everyone here today. We on the Mental Health Committee have been working the past several weeks compiling a series of questions pertaining to college apps, scholarships, stress for our panelists today, all of whom are returning Youth Council alumni. And speaking of which, joining us today first is Sneha Sundaram. She was on the Youth Council for 3 years. Over the course of her time on Youth Council, she was a moderator for the Youth Town Hall in 2019, a member of various committees, and met many amazing people during her term. She was part of the Simi Valley High School's 2020 graduating class and is now a freshman at UCLA as a computational and systems biology major. Next is Hamna Ahmad. She is a sophomore at the University of Southern California, studying business administration and minoring in law and public policy. She graduated from Royal High School in 2019 and was a member of the Youth Council all 4 years of high school. And lastly, we have Paige Barella. Paige is a recent graduate of Santa Susana High School and a freshman at UC Berkeley, studying political science and media studies in the College of Letters and Sciences. Over the course of her first 2 semesters at Cal, she has taken courses on the 2020 election, American politics, Asian American genres, and economics, among other studies, with esteemed professors such as UC Berkeley Chancellor Carol Christ and former U.S. Secretary of Labor Robert Reich. In addition to her studies, Paige has been a part of the nationally ranked Cal mock trial team and has been able to compete virtually with teams all around the nation this past fall. While attending Santa Susana High School, she was the 2019-2020 chair of the Simi Valley Youth Council and founder of the anti-bullying social media platform Stop Bullying Me Gold. Welcome, all of you. It's very nice to have you all back. I mean, some fresh faces, new ones. And without further ado, I'd like to hand things off to our committee chair, Zainab, just for a brief introduction of this event, as well as an explanation of our motivations and goals behind hosting this podcast. Thank you.
All right, so this college Q&A podcast was inspired to help youth with their college applications process, as it is known to be very stressful and time-consuming. We want to ensure that students make their mental health a priority when applying to colleges. So our panelists will inform listeners on their experience and advice in regards to time management, choosing majors in schools, scholarships, and more from their personal experience. So to start off, we have Mateus beginning the Q&A process.
Excellent, that was great. Hey everyone, my name is Mateus Buraki and I'm a sophomore at Santa Susana High School. And although I'm only my second year, college apps will be coming up sooner than we think. So what advice would you give to your younger high school self? Is there anything you would change, wish you had done or known?
Absolutely. My freshman year of high school, I did absolutely nothing. And so I kind of just did not do any activities, did not do any clubs or anything like that. So if I were to change one thing, I would definitely go back and try more things, because I think high school is definitely the time to experiment with your interests.
Yeah, I completely agree. On the other hand, I was extremely involved in high school, and it happens to be one of the most things that I'm really proud about. But academic-wise, I think I wish I took advantage of the dual enrollment program at Moore Park High School. Now that I'm in college, I can't take classes anywhere else. So that would have been a really great advantage going in, being able to have those credits going in instead of relying on AP and IB. So definitely looking back, I wish I took advantage of that program earlier on.
I definitely agree with both of them, because I was also really involved in high school, but I didn't do a lot of college classes. So like when you're going into college, that affects like your enrollment time and like when you get to pick classes and stuff like that. So definitely recommend taking those dual enrollment classes at Moore Park.
All right, thank you so much for that information. My name is Zainab Nimachwala. I'm a junior at Thousand Oaks High School, and I'm also beginning to prepare for college. So I would like to ask, how did you decide which college you wanted to attend after you got all your acceptances?
Yeah, I go ahead and start us off on that. I think for me, it was definitely rating what programs suited me best, knowing the class sizes, what the campus is like, what activities you want to be involved in, because overall you're going to be living around there for 4 years. So making sure that you find your community and something that you could blend into or really enjoy your time being there besides just being a student. So for me, it was looking at what the business program is like as a business major, seeing what the communities are like. So as a first gen, I wanted to see what that was like, as well as being like child of immigrants. I wanted to find a community that I can find a family as well as support me in my studies. So being involved on campus translates all the way to college. So you want to enjoy your 4 years there as well.
Exactly. And I also highly recommend that, like, when everything opens back up again, you guys do take time to go see colleges, because you might think you like a college, but then when you go visit, you might have a completely different feeling. So definitely recommend going to visit.
Yeah, I completely agree with Sneha. I actually have not visited UC Berkeley yet, although I do have two cousins who go there. So Berkeley was one of those schools that I thought, oh, I would like to go there, but I don't think I'm going to get into it. And once I did get in, I was very excited about it, and I immediately accepted. And I knew that I had cousins who went there who really enjoyed it, and I had like a community there. So that was one of the reasons why I chose Berkeley.
All right. So this next question touches on something that I've been pretty worried about. My name is Ria Marin, and I'm a current senior at Royal High. I'm already done applying to colleges, so woohoo. But with everything turned virtual, I think that this question may only apply to Hamna because she's a second year. But if any of the other panelists have any insight, please feel free to jump in. How was the roommate application process for you? Did you try and stay open-minded, or did you want to make sure you found the perfect fit?
Yeah, that's actually a perfect question. I'm currently an RA on campus, so definitely have a lot of insight on what the freshman experience is like. But for me, I ultimately went in just saying that I would have a random roommate. Overall, you guys both chose going to the same school, so you must be compatible on some level. And then eventually I found a mutual who connected me with another mutual going to USC, and she turned out to be my best friend. So in the end, I think honestly, whichever approach you take, whether it's random, specific to USC, you could fill out a questionnaire and they'll tell you some people that you match with. But overall, it'll be your first friend. You're not always in your room. They're not going to be your only friend. So just being really open to what your experience is going to be. Definitely, since they'll be your first friend, it'll be nice that you somewhat get to know each other. But the questionnaire kind of limits you from being someone that's completely different from you. So like the basic questions like, oh, do you like to have a clean room, messy room? How often do you go out? What time do you go to sleep? So definitely those basic surface level compatibility. But overall, just being really open and knowing that you guys are both there at a great school. So you must be compatible on some level.
I never roomed with my roommates, but I found my roommates on Facebook, and we one of them is actually the same major as I, so we do have like a lot of same interests like together. And then one of them just moved down to LA, so I do get to meet them often. But definitely any route you take will definitely be beneficial for yourself. I just went the Facebook route.
I was going to room with someone from high school, so that's kind of like the route I took. We had been on the same mock trial team together, so we had previously kind of known what it was like to work with each other, and we'd been in hotel rooms together, so we kind of knew what it was like already.
Okay, great. Hello again. My name is Alden Tom. I'm a current sophomore at Santa Susana High School. And although college is a fair bit of time away for me, I can't really help but wonder what my options are. So I guess my question would be, what would you say to people who are unsure of what their options are? And I think the best way to kind of go about that is, how did you choose your college? And to add on to that, when you were still looking, because it was so close to home, did you ever consider going to Moorpark Community College?
Yeah, so there are definitely a lot of questions in there, but I'll kind of cover the more park session. I think if you're not 100% sure what you want to do, which is very common and very okay to not know what you want to do, I definitely consider going to Moore Park and being able to explore your options. I know the minute I stepped on USC's campus, I was aware of so many other majors that I've never heard of. So definitely being able to step back and be like, it's okay. I hate when people say like, oh, I'm just going to Moore Park. It is equally worthy. You're saving so much money. Like, definitely don't ever feel like you have to compare yourself to other people going to 4 years. Like, college is college at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-year or a 4-year, prestigious or not. So definitely just being able to step past that and be like, it's okay. Whatever works best for me is the best decision. I know it's really easy to compare yourself with people that are going to really prestigious schools. So looking back, I also evaluated Moore Park based on finances. So not having it as a backup, but being able to receive your financial aid from other schools and then varying out your options, seeing what's beneficial for to you. If you know exactly what you want to do, that is amazing. Props to you. Go ahead and delve into that. But if you want to explore more, definitely Moore Park is a great option, or any other 2-year as well.
I'll answer the part where it's like, what do you recommend for students your age to do? College fairs that your school provides every year are amazing opportunities to meet like a bunch of different schools. There are schools that like in California, small, big, you can find them all at the college fairs, and they all give you booklets that are really like beneficial and give a lot of information about what the school is about as well. So definitely recommend the college fairs.
Yeah, everything that Hamna and Sneha said, I totally agree with. I also just want to touch on like college isn't for everybody. If you know you want to be a mechanic, don't go to college. Go to a trade school or something like that. College is a huge financial expense, but like Hamna said, if you really don't know what you want to do yet, Moore Park is a great way to explore different options. My brother currently goes to Moore Park. I took classes at Moore Park. It's a really great experience. Even if you're thinking you might not get the traditional college experience, you still get to make friends and everything, and they still have clubs and opportunities like that.
I'd also like to ask lastly, like Paige said, college, you're not going to get the same exact experience, but for me, you can't predict everything. Obviously, we're in the middle of a global pandemic and we're all taking classes virtually. So honestly, in the end, you can't predict everything. So just pick what's best for you.
And that brings us to our next question. Hi, I'm Abhishek Jagannathan, a current freshman at Santa Susana High School. While not applying myself, I've heard from juniors and seniors about how stressful college applications can be. What helped you handle the stress of filling out your college applications, and how do you handle stress in college now, virtually?
Yeah.
Start early on your college apps. Definitely start early, because you're going to be really stressed if you're cramming at the last second. Your deadline's in 2 days. I personally was not stressed during the college application process because I started in August and I had kind of like my applications lined up by the time that they were due. So that's my advice for you.
Yeah, definitely. My advice translates throughout your entire high school and college career. Definitely just being organized. I know it's like the bare minimum, but for me, I created a Google Sheets of where I wanted to go, where I wanted to apply, rated them, what program I was applying to, deadlines, everything that you would need to know, having it in one place so that you could just check it off as you're going. Because ideally, you're also in school. So you have school, you have your extracurriculars, and you're applying to college and hopefully scholarship. So it's a lot to keep track of. Paige wasn't stressed, which I love to hear that for you, but it's pretty inevitable that you'll have some range of stress. So just having that all in one place was really beneficial to me, and translating that into college with stress now. I write everything in my planner and have a Google Calendar that sometimes, like, I'm a visual learner, so I like to see what my day looks like. So overall, as simple as it is, just being really organized.
So I was stressed, very stressed. But I didn't start my college apps very early, which I definitely recommend you do. A bunch of people told me start over the summer. I did not, and I paid the price for that. But I would say that like when I work, I can't sit there and work for like 10 hours straight. So like definitely take breaks. I do the whole like you work for an hour, then you take a break for 30 minutes, and then you keep going. It is definitely good to take breaks. You learn so much more. But I definitely say start early, don't stress out too much, and do the Google Sheet thing. It's a lot of help.
Thank you all panelists for all your thoughtful responses. Now we will move on to our next question. My name is Ashlyn and I'm a current sophomore at Simi Valley High School. As I'm starting to prepare for college, I was wondering, when did you start preparing for college application, and who was of the greatest help in the process?
Yeah, so I think Paige and Sneha both mentioned starting early and getting that head start in the summer. For me, I think the end of junior year, I made a rough plan of where I wanted to apply, what I was looking at, but also similar to Sneha, I did not start writing my essays until the senior year had started. Definitely getting that senioritis and figuring out what works best for you. But I definitely recommend just starting at what works for you. Not everyone's going to be the same. Early, obviously, is a great way. But for me, I think I started in the beginning of senior year, and the best help to me was our college coordinator. Obviously, it was much different because I was in person, luckily, but we had different college campus recruiters come to campus and give us talks. As he mentioned, also visiting them. I know USC has a virtual experience if you want to visit campus, so shameless plug. But definitely being able to look at their website and being able to rank where you want to apply early on. Even I know some people are freshmen, so if there's like dream schools out there, definitely start looking into it.
What Humna said.
Yeah, honestly, Humna covered everything on that one. Definitely go see your college and career counselor. You won't realize they exist until like junior or senior year, and they are a blessing in disguise.
Nice. Okay, thank you guys. So to finish us off here, I had a couple questions. So my name is Mo Maney. I'm a student at Apollo High School, and as a senior, going into college, I wanted to ask some questions about financial aid and scholarships. So my first question is, what advice would you give to those applying for financial aid?
Apply. College is very expensive.
Yeah, definitely apply. Start early. I did a lot of scholarships, definitely private scholarships, and I filed the FAFSA, do the FAFSA, and everything like that. That's going to be really helpful to you. And make sure that you have letters of rec lined up for your scholarship applications as well.
Yeah, I definitely have a hefty response. So, as you guys know, USC is known to be a very expensive, affluent school. So, definitely applying to FAFSA. It's known to be first come, first serve. So, I think they open up right on March 1st. So, definitely getting that app in as soon as possible. And also, once you get your financial aid offers, don't be afraid to appeal. So, the appeal process is you didn't give me enough money, please give me more money in a short sense. So, don't be afraid to go through that process and basically beg for more money. I've done it a countless numbers of times and I'm only a sophomore. So definitely don't be afraid to do that resources. And then as far as scholarships, similar to Sneha, I wish I applied to so many more because those deadlines are the same time as you're applying to college. So it's really hard to manage all those applications. But for me, I definitely recommend applying to local scholarships. That's where you'll get a ton because people know you, you have your recommendations. So being able to, you have a Google Sheet for college, but also create a Google Sheet for those scholarships nearby. I know I got a scholarship from my middle school. They had like a little small one. So just keeping track of those, a lot of work, but it'll pay off. I think the scholarship applications are just as important as college applications because it might weigh into what colleges you're going to by seeing how many scholarships you've received. So definitely placing priority on both is a great recommendation.
Okay, gotcha. So Hamna kind of answered my second question. So my second question is, what are the best scholarships to pursue, and how did you find good scholarships to apply to?
At your college and career center, they actually have this big universal scholarship that they open up in like May or like the end of April. And that has a ton of scholarships that are throughout Ventura County. So it's all in like one app too. So it's really helpful. So if you don't hear about it, ask your college and career counselor about it.
Yeah, the College and Career Center is extremely useful. I don't know if the schools are still using Naviance, but that one's also a really good place to find scholarships as well. And I believe they have organization filters to show you what scholarships have been previously won by students from your school and other types of priorities that maybe fit your category person. Maybe you're a freshman, maybe you're a sophomore, senior, junior, maybe you're into pre-law. There's like a bunch of different qualifications for scholarships that Naviance can really filter out for you.
Yep, I completely agree. I also briefly mentioned just don't be afraid to apply to a whole bunch of little ones. They do add up, and most case scenarios, they'll have like similar prompts, so you don't have to keep rewriting essays, or it might even benefit your college app because they're already written. And then as well, just like a brief memo of once you're in college, you could also apply to additional scholarships while you're there. Most likely your university will offer some. So just keep that in mind. Don't rely on them, but keep them in mind as well.
Fantastic. All right, thank you guys.
All right, so one of our community submitted questions was, can the panelists from different colleges share a glimpse into their high school experiences? What do you feel gave you a leg up in getting accepted into your current college?
Yeah, I guess I could start us off. I feel like I graduated so long ago, but it really wasn't that long. But I guess I was mostly involved with our associated student body. From freshman to senior year, I served as president and really being involved. But outside, I also did dance. I was involved in the youth council, obviously. But I think what really makes you stand out is being a really multifaceted student. So being involved in your academics, but also different ventures, different clubs. Don't be involved in things that are all the same thing, like a whole bunch of service. Like you want to be able to show that you are multifaceted and have a diverse interest, but also don't have pressure to be involved in so many things. Just pick a couple of things that you're passionate about and actually enjoy your time there and can actually gain something from it. So it gives you something to write about on your college apps or even just gain those skills that are more long-term.
Yeah, I was involved in quite a bit too. I mentioned that my freshman year I didn't do anything, but that meant my sophomore year I decided to do everything. So I was definitely in dance. I did choir for a year. I was very active in the mock trial, and outside of school I had a job. I was working at a laser tag place, and I was in youth council. I thoroughly enjoyed, I think, everything that I was doing. I would never say to do anything that you don't enjoy just for the sake of college applications. But I think what gives you a leg up in your application process is to find something that you're passionate about and then take it to the next level. And what I mean by that is be like a problem solver and be really innovative within that club. There are plenty of ways to be a leader without actually having a leadership position, so to speak. Just showing that you're pretty active in that and you care about it and you want to make it better is what I think gives you a leg up in that competitive field for college applications.
I definitely agree with what Paige and Humna said. You always want to be like, for colleges, they're looking to see how well-rounded you are pretty much. So like, you don't have to do like 10 different clubs and play 5 different sports. Like that's not what they're looking for. But like if you do something that you really enjoy and you're able to write about it and they can see that like that activity brought you that much joy, that's kind of what they're looking for, in my opinion. So, and for what like brought me a leg up, I would say I applied for like a bunch of different internships at college and at colleges, and I applied to one at UCLA. And I feel like that was like really cool because it did let me feel like a college student one summer, which I definitely didn't get this year. But yeah, definitely like look for like opportunities in your field. So like if you're like pre-med, try like looking for different like pre-med internships that you can do and stuff like that.
How many scholarships did you apply to in total, and how much did you receive in scholarships? And that's another community question.
Okay, I could take this one. I applied to a lot of scholarships. I had a spreadsheet. I must have applied to maybe 20 to 30 scholarships. And I got about $10,000 in scholarships, and those were all from private institutions. And so some of them were national, but most of them came from small scholarships around the community. Saneha mentioned the Universal Scholarship. That one's really good. I had a lot of luck with the VCCF scholarship, and just like anything that you might have potential ties to would be really nice to apply to. So for example, if you're well connected to the Reagan, apply for the Reagan scholarship, or if you're well connected to like your middle school or you volunteer for something, then apply to that scholarship. So that's what my advice would be for that.
Yeah, I'll definitely echo that. I definitely wish I applied to as many as Paige did, but I think I was able to come into my freshman year with about 15 grand, and a big chunk of that was from Reagan. So definitely shout out to Reagan and apply to that. And the rest of them were also all community based. So I mentioned earlier my middle school. I also got one from the Seroptimists. I went to a couple of their committee meetings. So anything that you're involved in within the community, whether it's a club on campus or an organization, definitely see and reach out if they have any opportunities. Even if they don't have one, they might be willing to contribute even like $100, which doesn't seem like much, but it adds up. So definitely don't be afraid to reach out and ask for those opportunities.
I definitely did not apply to that many scholarships because me procrastinating on them definitely paid off. I applied to 3, but I got 1. So yeah, definitely apply for scholarships and keep track of those deadlines because the money helps a lot.
Yeah, I just want to add really quick that scholarships are totally inconsequential. So even if you think, this isn't that good and your deadline's coming up, just submit it. You never know what could come out of it.
Okay, is there anything else you think students or listeners should know before we end the podcast?
I definitely have one recommendation that I look back on often. But for me, my one recommendation is don't have a million people read your college essays and edit them. I feel like by the end of that process, it doesn't even sound like it's you anymore. And looking back at that, I was able to like reread my college essays and I like genuinely don't remember writing it. I'm like, this does not sound like me. I had everyone in my family read it, all my peers read it. And my most authentic essay was my USC essay, and here I am. So definitely, I think limiting to like less than 5 people, people that are close to you, but still making sure it's your voice. You don't want to sound like really superficial. Be authentic. They're looking for your true self. So definitely don't have a million people read your essays.
I would just say to explore as much as you possibly can, even if you don't think you're going to be good at something. Like I mentioned to the youth council earlier that I tried out for Dragon Boat yesterday, and I have been a potato for the past 6 months to a year. So college is definitely the time to explore. High school, even better. And you could use any kind of failure that you have in your college application essays as well. So I just try as much as you can and don't be afraid of getting out of your comfort zone.
I honestly don't have much to add, but I will say just like enjoy the process, trust the process. Like it will come out good in the end. So that's how I like to say everything happens for a reason.
With that, that about wraps up Youth Council's first ever video podcast. Thank you so much to our wonderful panelists for volunteering their time for this event. Thank you to our committee members for organizing and arranging this event. And of course, thank you to our community for their input. Where would we be without them? So thank you all. Be well, stay safe, and good day.
Thank you.